Welcome to the Sleevy G Show. I'm your host or your most. My name is Gomez, and today, like any of my other shows, it's always exciting. But when I'm talking about a band that love to hear the music, but also reminds me of a mixture of Evanescence, Linkin Park, Hailstorm, probably three of my favorite bands worldwide. I gotta introduce Limberlost. I got Mike and Brittany. Guys, how are you tonight?
We're doing
You go first, lady. We're wonderful. How are you doing, man? Thanks for having us on.
I really appreciate you coming on to the show. Excited. Let me tell you, I've listened to some of the tracks you guys have laid down. Your newest one. It's kind of funny. I've been jumping back and forth because when I'm at work, I look over the videos and stuff that you guys have out. And let me tell you, the video to Aliens. I can see why you guys won the music award. Well, actually, the I want to say the music award, but I want to say the video award. There we go. I couldn't think of the name of it in
Yeah,
2025 for it, which is an unbelievable video. What was the concept? How did you guys figure that do that?
well,
I'll let the lady go here because that's all her, man.
that song was written after going quite far down that alien rabbit hole. Put that tinfoil on my head. Obama declared
Losing my.
Yeah.
going down that rabbit hole. And what was interesting is I landed on this book called Alien Interview by Lauren Spencer. I definitely recommend it. It's quite the trip. It's wild. And I wrote this song, and when we took it to the studio at Magic Studios, Kareem and Zach, they had this concept for a video that was so similar to the book.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's have it's like alien, like autopsy, and this nurse intervenes, and they have this like psychic connection. And I feel they did a great job bringing all of that across and making this really cool little mini story out of that song, and it's just so perfect for it. So it was really cool because it almost it definitely evoked the book and the whole past that Alien was written for. So
That's awesome, Mike. Now I gotta have to ask Mike in your words now, since we have Brittany's, in your words with the video, what does it mean for you with that video too?
Well, like she said, we kind of put on the tinfoil hats there for a while. Got total MUFON and Blink 182. Let's go find aliens. And we
oh,
started we started watching a lot of Ancient Aliens, and then she ran across this book too. So all of that is in context because all of that actually happened, and we were like, I mean, not in the context of us making music,
Hmm.
right? It was more in the context of just, wow, is this real? The pyramids are this and that. So we were, totally going down that rabbit hole. So when she started putting the song together, it was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. And then plus it just took our music, in a very sonically different direction than we had ever gone before. And then, because she's got a degree in both opera and theater, the whole musical theater thing started happening. And so she was putting this whole idea for the video, storyboarding it kind of deal. And like she said, we ended up through our manager, Paul, hooking up these guys down in Houston, Texas, called Magic Studio. And they have this, I guess it's called a virtual environment LED camera tracking system. It's basically what they filmed The Mandalorian with.
Hmm.
So it was a real interesting thing, but these guys will go beyond that. They like build props, and we walk into the studio and they got all this cool crap put together and stuff. So it was just a great experience, and watching her be able to work with them in terms of getting the story put together. And then of course they take their artistic advantage and prowess into it, and it. But it turned out really close to I think what we were trying to get with it. But yeah, just the whole thing. I'm just sitting back in amazement at the production value for what I've done in the past for videos. This was like light years from anything I'd ever worked on before.
Well,
So
I'll tell you this, the video was just awesome. Like I was like, wow, blown out of my mind because I can't, I guess, I'll say my age here. I came through the MTV phase, you know, mid 80s, early 90s where there was actual music videos.
Yes.
And I feel like that concept is gone. And now the stage of YouTube, you know what I mean? That's the best way of watching now music videos. And to seeing that, I was just like, wow. It had, like you said, like you said, you got the alien hat on and you guys thought outside the box, but it had like the 80s mixed in with the 90s, mixed in with the 2000s, like almost like, oh God, what was that one song? Money or for Nothing with the TVs and everything like that. So
Dire Straits. I love that.
Dire
That's
Straits,
what
there we go. I couldn't think of the name of it.
every time I see one of them Tesla trucks, I think of that freaking video, the little
Yes,
box guys. And, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I do. So it's, and it was really a great concept that you guys had. And, kudos to you guys because I would have never thought of something like that either. You know what I mean? For what you guys have put together. And I also, you guys recorded probably one of my favorite songs too, which was a cover you guys did, which I was finding again when I was going through the YouTube channel, just like I normally do. And you guys did the cover of Black Velvet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Brittany, you and I believe was it Sammy, I guess you guys together.
Well, this was a
Yeah, that
this was a different
actually
singer.
features.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one features our previous lead singer, Crystal. So she's
Okay.
on that one, and she's phenomenal on it.
Phenomenal. But
And yeah.
I gotta ask, what possessed you guys to cover that song? Because that's not an easy song to cover either.
I'll take that one because I think that was kind of mine initially when I brought it in the room. It's just
Yeah.
when you have two vocalists like we have,
Hmm.
okay, and I can still say that in the present text because Crystal was phenomenal. She was a phenomenal singer.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
It still is.
you know,
Wonderful.
and yeah, she's a wonderful singer. But and Sammy's incredible singer too. So when you have two just amazing singers, vocalists that, and when I say that, I mean like I walk into studios with these guys, and it's very rare that the Melodyne button gets pushed. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's very rare because they're that good at what they do. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but I'm just saying they just are a step above. And so when you go searching for covers, and this I think is always a thing for bands, original bands, because we're an original band that recorded some covers. In fact, we got a new cover coming out that we're really stoked to get out. But it's go find that song that you can pay homage to, but you can also have the potential to elevate.
And you guys elevated the video too.
Oh, thank you. Thank
I
you.
mean, I saw the video. I mean, it looked like a really hot day when you guys shot that because I'm watching Crystal and you in the video and all you guys. I'm like, that looked like a really hot day. Perfect song for it, but I couldn't tell if it was just because it was the video or it was a really hot day when you guys shot it.
That was absolutely the video because we shot it up in Seattle and
Okay.
like I mean it was, I think it rained.
Yeah, it was raining cold. That what was like sweat was actually just rain. On
Yeah, we pushed Thomas.
Thousand.
We had Thomas Crane film that. He's out of Tampa. He does like Queen's Reichs videos and stuff like that. And he flew up, and I said, I need this to look like we're doing it in the bayou. So the whole intention was to make it look like that's what was happening, but we were actually shivering our nuts off.
Yeah, well, we found this such an interesting spot up by, I want to say it was like Stewart Lake or something like that, and it just had these lilies and these weird trees in the back. I mean, it kind of looked a little out of the south, like we could have been
In Mississippi, yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I would have never thought that was in Seattle until you guys said it. I literally thought you were in the South doing that video because it literally represented it very well.
Yeah, he did a good job with that. And I told him it's the only thing I cared about because I knew everything else was going to be cool. I said, but the only thing I want in this freaking video, you got to give me an alligator.
And he did.
Yeah, he did. We got an alligator.
Well, listen, my grandfather used to live in Louisiana, so I respect the alligators. And I will say, if I was able to go back to Louisiana now, I am so having an alligator po' boy.
Nice.
oh boy.
We just did our
What?
first Louisiana tour this last summer.
Yeah, we got all them shrimp and grits. Boy, were those good.
Oh,
What else were we getting all the time? Oh, bread.
We tried all kinds of stuff. We actually parked our RV in the French Quarter. There was an actual freaking RV park right there in
Yes,
the
there
French
is.
Quarter.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I remember my first time I was I think it was like around 8 years old, and my grandfather lived in Louisiana. My grandparents were split, but they loved each other very much. You know, my grandmother had an opportunity here in Jersey. He had an opportunity in Louisiana. And I remember, I would think it was around 7 or 8 years old. My mom took me down to go visit my grandfather. And right next door to his neighbor, there was a huge pond with little gators in it. And they caught a gator.
Wow.
And next thing I know is we're barbecuing a full gator. Like
Wow.
legitly
The hell.
open fire, like full blown rotisserie going alligator. And
Wow.
first taste of alligator, I'm like, God, this does not taste fishy at all. So worth it every time I can go down there, worth every trip. You know,
Well,
that's one thing. I love Louisiana, but you guys have done some extensive traveling too. I saw what you guys did this year. Now in 2026, are there any shows coming up this year? Any kind of tour, I should really say.
yes,
Mike, take it
and
away.
yeah, yes, and when we reformed this, he has obviously wasn't able to join us tonight, but when my brother Steve came on board, which I thought was just kind of a total happy accident that we ended up with the bass player from Metal Church.
Mhm.
He him and I sat down and talked about some logistics and stuff with booking agents and so forth, and some of that stuff was bubbling up but didn't quite transpire the way we thought it was going to at the end of last year. So we kind of entered this year without an agent.
Okay.
So we're a little slow off the mark. Now, that doesn't stop me from doing because pretty much I've booked everything we've done up to that point, with the exception of our European tour. That was a collab with our manager, Paul Crosby, and Chuck over at Artist International. So, but everything else, every other thing we've done stateside, pretty much has been something we've done within camp. And so we still have some of that stuff coming up. I can tell you that even though I don't have everything ink dried and I can't give you the exact dates, we will be doing several shows in Sturgis this year.
Oof.
We didn't go last year. This will be our fifth year. We didn't go last year because we were down in your neck or down in the southeast.
Right.
We had the ICE Awards, and then we turned that into a Texas through the Gulf Coast kind of tour thing. So that happens the same exact time that the rally does. So we weren't able to actually participate. So we have that. We have another large festival that we've signed on to that will be a main stage band for. And there's some pretty hefty names on it, but they haven't announced yet, so I can't. So,
No, I totally respect that. I respect that totally. You know what I mean? I get it.
but it is coming. And it's funny because there's other things out there that we're looking at. There's possible cruise. We really want to get back to your area. We had a national tour that was
Mhm.
kind of in our lap, but then we kind of got, it kind of got sucked out from under us at the last minute, which is probably a good thing that it did because it ended up getting canceled.
Okay.
Uh, and we would have probably invested a ton of money in infrastructure for that tour to have, and we'd be scrambling right now to recoup all that and stuff. But we were supposed to go out. We initially might have gone out. I think it was right about this time or early next month. It would have been us opening for Gilby Clarke and Glenn Hughes.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
and so it would have been all the way back to your neck of the woods from California down into Florida, which would have been ideal for the new album release for us.
Yeah.
But
No,
again, the universe knows what it's doing. And once we found out Glenn was sick and had to cancel, it was like, no, we're definitely sad that he's sick and hope he gets better. But we were like, oh my God, imagine if we'd stuck in, rented buses and stuck
oh
a
my
bunch of
God.
money in.
Yeah, I know. I can't even imagine that because I'm a low podcaster, but everything comes out of my own pocket, so I know the feeling. Trust me, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now, I know you said Sturgis. Now, how is it playing at Sturgis during the rally?
Fun.
Take that one, Brittany.
Oh, its own.
Oh, man. You're cutting out,
You're
girl.
cutting out a little bit. It's probably just going in and out. It's fine.
Yeah.
I can see the excitement in her face, though, for Sturgis, though. I could say that.
I,
Yeah, it's a good
go ahead.
time.
I mean, I have
Oh,
only
that's yeah.
all I've seen Sturgis is during. I am not. Unfortunately, my family doesn't want me ever to go on two wheels because I am probably not the greatest balancer, but I'm a good driver. But I
Mhm.
mean, I've always watched the old shows of Orange County Choppers, and I
Right.
always see, how crazy Sturgis is. And I mean, for me, I'm not a biker, but I love bikes. I love Harleys. I love seeing custom bikes like crazy. I mean, to see Sturgis yourselves, and I mean, do you guys ride too at by any chance, or just you
Mhm.
just go for the
No.
fun?
I think Steve does. Tony does a little bit. I used to back in my youth. I haven't ridden in 25 years probably, but
I
um,
don't.
no, I mean, we pretty much go out there to work. That's that. The thing about Sturgis is it's, oh God, how would I put it? I've described it before. It's like the world's largest swap meet but it's for bikers.
Yeah.
The first year we went out there, I think it was right after COVID, so there was like 1 million people showed up for it. So imagine a little tiny town in South Dakota with 1 million people running around and Harley hogs, blah 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 blah, all over the place, and you know, and we played downtown. That was our first show. Was a place called the Knuckle. It's a big arena style uh, venue downtown in Sturgis, and so we had 6 shows there, and it was our first time in, so we kind of came in stupid, and thought we'd go in there and give our show, because well, heck, we're awesome, right? You're basically there to sell beer, so but it was kind of cool the first time we went in there and played because right in the middle of our set, like halfway through, the place cleared out. I mean, just totally went from full to empty.
Wow.
And we, we're sniffing our armpits and, we're trying to figure out
Yeah.
what's up. And we went home and we're in our little, the whole band, we're sitting in our little RV and we're scratching through our set list going, we got to fix this, man. Something's wrong here. We're going to get fired. And it turned out Kid Rock was playing that night.
Oh,
So the whole
okay.
town, so 360,000 people were heading out to see Hit Kid Rock. So it really wasn't us. But
At the same time as us.
yeah, it was exactly when we were like halfway through our set. Everybody
Yeah.
vacated
Oh,
to go see him out at Buffalo Chip. So but
Yeah.
it did shock us enough that I think we learned how to be a working band at Sturgis
mm,
and stuff. So it is a different kind of style of thing. I think a lot of people just think it's a big party, which it is. But as a musician, if you have to understand the business behind it. If you're a big musician and you're going to play the big stages like the Chip, the
yeah.
Throttle, maybe a one-off or something like that, maybe Iron Horse, then you can go in and be you and just play your concert. But if you're playing some of the campgrounds and the venues downtown and stuff like that, you got to bring a knapsack full of covers with you too, because those people are there to dance and have a good time.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I've seen, like I said, I've seen through Orange County Choppers, and seen through that, and some of the stuff you see on TV too. You know what I mean? It just looks like a wild, wild time. It, it's like
Wow.
it's like Woodstock met the bikers and had one hell of a party, except it's not in Woodstock, it's in Sturgis, like you said, a little
Yeah.
town in South Dakota.
Yeah, and it's just lined with tents and selling stuff and all kinds of companies, and there's music venues everywhere. There's like 80 stages out there, I think, something like that. It's just, it's a lot of fun. But like I said, I don't think we've actually ever went and with the mindset that we're there to experience Sturgis as much. Well, we've had members that have, but
Mhm.
we've kind of also realized, hey, we got to get up and play tomorrow, that kind of thing. Um, so it's it's a little different take. I think somebody that went. I personally have always kind of been there to work, but I've also marveled at the sights and the sounds and stuff too. So it's a little. I have a different perspective because I'm looking at it as an audition for next year. Typically when
Right.
I'm there.
Now, I meant to ask this question in the beginning, but I totally forgot. But Mike, I know you're the founder. How did you get the band together? I guess is the good question to ever ask. You know what I mean?
Well, I found my original guitar player under Men Seeking Men on Craigslist. Um,
Yep. The rest was Grinder.
and Grinder. Yeah, and no, no, seriously though, I did put out a Craigslist ad when I moved back to Washington. I was in a praise band. It's actually started as a worship team. I was in a worship band down in L.A. This is, years. I mean, I started in 1980. I played in cover bands all through the 80s. I was down on the Sunset Strip. I played a lot through Washington and stuff. And then I took a little bit of a break. And then I when I came back into music, I came back in through the praise band world.
Okay.
And one of my guitar players, his nephew was Sonny from POD.
Oh, wow.
And so and this was down in LA, so I got to go see those guys and I got to, experience that. And then through them, I was able to also meet Switchfoot and understand. And those were like, well, first of all, I'm a, what do you call it? A recovering Catholic. So I'd never even seen music in, a rock band in a church before, let alone become one. And so getting into that world was kind of interesting. And then understanding that you could actually go out and have these kick-ass rock bands, but their message and their motives were a little bit more inspirational, I guess would be the word. A little more positive. And that really intrigued me. And so when I moved back to Washington, I was kind of my goal is I wanted to put together a band that could be kind of a crossover. And so I reached out to some people and I went through a bunch of different folks. I found my guitar player like right away, but then we went through several different people before we actually became a band. We'd written several songs. And I want to say it was probably around late 2015, we decided to just hang it up because we were also all on the same praise team at a church. And, there's a lot of politics in that, who gets to be leader today kind of crap. And so it just wasn't quite working out. And I asked the guitar player, I said, hey, we had written this song. He wrote the melody and I wrote the lyrics to our very first song called Thin Clouds. And I said, God, I'd hate to let this die. We should go record this before we hang everything up. So we got everybody together and they agreed and we paid for studio time. We went and recorded the thing and released it. And a bunch of people in the area went nuts and said, wow, this is great. And, and all of a sudden we were the band, the people wanted to hear. And so we ended up releasing a bunch more songs. The bass player quit because it was too much time commitment for him. And, we found a new bass player, released an album, it just was like the normal local yokel scene, but we just kept growing and growing. And I think it was about 2018 came along and we had just we were just getting ready to record a couple more songs. And I was having a hard time because a lot of the members of the band were taking on other side projects and it made it real hard for me to get things done and schedule. So I decided at that time to put our big boy pants on and create an LLC. And the rule was if you want to be part of the LLC and get a share and everything that's going on, you had to commit to this band. And so we immediately lost our keyboard player and our background singer because they had other things they wanted to go do. So, and that's when Tony and Brittany came into the picture. And so
Yep.
That was 2018. We also signed with Paul Crosby at the end of that year. He looked us up and decided we were a band he was interested in. So started moving in a little bit better direction. We also hooked up with a gentleman named Timothy Eaton, who is a very renowned producer out of LA, who came in and produced our song Good Fight, which is the title track of our second album. And also we did a cover with him called Stand By You by the Pretenders.
Oh, yeah.
That we produced. And then, just a bunch of stuff, that's, to where we are today, I could let Brittany pick up from here because she tells the Consigli story better than I do. But, it really had gotten to a point where I think we decided that we couldn't really go any farther with everybody trying to pull the leadership strings. And so, yeah, we had to make some changes. So.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. We were on our European tour, and originally it started with a song. It was just the song "Beautiful Scars," and that idea was just about the Japanese art form of kintsugi and taking that on as a person. And what that art form is if a pot is broken or pottery is broken or glass, it's repaired with gold, molten gold, and it makes a very beautiful piece of art. And that word and that idea is that something is more beautiful because it was once broken. And so we took that on, like as a person, if a person could take that on and think that all of the things that have happened to me, and all the scars that I carry are actually gold, and make me more beautiful than I was before. And so we were like, this should be kind of this. But as we started talking about the song, we realized it's a story. It's really multiple songs. It's kind of a whole concept, and that was where we came up with the concept album. And then interestingly, Limberlost kind of went through that after that tour. There was a real make or break, you know, and it was very messy. It wasn't easy. Mike makes it seem like, oh, we just kind of. I mean, at one point the band was gone. Like every one of us had quit.
Right. And that's not easy, like you said. That's, you know, like you said, a broken pot's the best way of putting it. And then you're now trying to put the pieces back all together. And I feel like you guys have, because the sound is
Thank you.
unbelievable.
Yes.
The music, especially Give It To Me. I mean, I've heard that song a few times now. So if you see your listeners on YouTube, that probably was me.
Ah, nice.
So I will say that because I kept listening to the songs, because here's the thing. I look at it, there's people who love music and there's people who actually listen to the music. I'm actually one of those who would actually listen to the music. And
yeah, awesome, dude.
Hearing the words, hearing your voice, Mike, being the founder of the band, you know what I mean? You guys have put together something amazing. Like I said, I did mention Evanescence, Hailstorm, and Linkin Park, and those are three of my.
We love them.
Those are my three biggest bands. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I saw Linkin Park before they were Linkin Park. They were Hybrid Theory before they changed their name to Linkin Park.
Oh wow!
And I saw them at a bar here in New Jersey.
Wow.
Before they made it big, and to see Chester, Mike, and everybody in that band. And I was just blown away. I said, this band's going to get huge one day. And then I never thought about it when someone goes, hey, you got to listen to Linkin Park. I'm like, oh, that band sounds familiar. You know, the music sounded familiar. And I'd never put two to two together until an old friend mentions, like, dude, we seen these guys when they were at the Burt show, when they were Hybrid Theory. I'm like, and I never thought, because the first album was Hybrid Theory, I never thought twice about it. So,
That's cool.
And for me to hear, you know, as Chester has gone on and hearing Emily's voice, and it's like, it's great to see female singers to take some of the leads from the guys a little bit more, because hearing Amy Lee, Lizzie Hale.
Lizzie.
Yep, yeah. I couldn't think of her name right off the top of my head because I get nervous when I mention that. I don't know why. And you know, seeing and hearing your voices, you guys have a voice that's just like, if you put you three together in a room, I feel like it would be one hell of an album. You know,
someday, man, that would be a dream. That would be awesome. But
you know,
yeah.
And it's truly amazing what you guys have gone through and what you guys are putting out there, and even seeing some of your old stuff too. Like I said, hearing a couple of the cover songs, seeing Aliens, seeing Buried, seeing Give It To Me Today a little bit more, really listening to the words. I mean, you guys have a lot of great collaborations together. Now I do have to ask this question: who does most of the writing, or is it collab together?
Not a peep. Well, I would say you're talking to the two people that write the songs.
Okay.
I would say it's a little more weighted into Brittany's camp than mine, but well, for instance, I actually wrote the lyrics for "Give It To Me."
Okay.
Melody to Give It To Me. I wrote the background stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, he wrote the lyrics and the melody. That's the song.
So it's a good collaboration between the both of you when it comes to the writing of the music. All right, so that's good.
Yeah.
We come up with
so like Alien and Buried, I wrote Give It To Me and Let Me Go, and Me, I'm Afraid of, Mike wrote. You know, so it's definitely, you're looking at the team.
Okay. Well, it's always, you know, because everyone says, oh, everybody, and I'm like, no, it's not everybody. I know that. I know it's always a joint effort, or at least everyone has their inputs, because I know in COVID times, everybody couldn't get together. And I know people said they would send out tracks to one guy, then he'll lay another track down. And then, so, you know, and now that's no longer the COVID days, as I say. I mean, I gotta say, I'm excited to see what you guys are going to be doing soon. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, we've got a whole new EP already done, which is kind
nice,
of exciting. So Give It To Me is actually the first song.
which is very good, by the way. I
Thank
love
you.
it.
Yeah,
I love the music. I love the words.
it's such a weird
Hey,
song. It's such a weird song in our history because we wrote
things.
we wrote we wrote the thing in 2023,
Yeah,
recorded it, and kind of rushed it to the market because we ended up getting this deal with Ingve to go to Europe. And
that's right.
we start thinking of all these different marketing ideas we could have, because that's one of the things Brittany and I always are putting our heads together on, is how can we do this? How can we take advantage of that? You're an independent band. You got to be the person you're trying to impress, right?
Mhm.
So, we decided, hey, let's put out a single and we'll just put it out. I talked to my distributor. I go, hey, can we just put it out in the UK and in the EU? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. We can whitelist it everywhere else. And I go, yeah. And then we can maybe get some radio spots, and we can hire a PR person over there, so we can maybe get some Limberlost shirts in those crowds over there.
Right.
Ingve's gonna rock the place, but we're his direct support. It'd be nice to have some people that actually show up to see us, right? So let's put in the effort. So we rushed that thing out and we released it, and it's been out since 2023 over there in Europe. But then we came back and went through our whole process, which,
Hmm.
by the way, the putting it back together part for us actually happened very quickly.
That's good
Yeah,
then.
The universe
and very,
has
yeah, very universe led. It was cool.
it was like boom, 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 with, like, I mean, literally we went to our manager and gave him all the tracks and said, hey, here's all our demos. And he's like, demos my ass. These are, but you need to release these, And then I said, well, we need a band, and blah, blah, blah. So he goes, oh, we'll find players in Nashville, no problem. And we're like, well, we've got some people back home, we've kept, we definitely were keeping our keyboard player, and we had some people back in the PNW, and Devin was one of those people that I
Mhm.
wanted to at least go after. And so we sent the tracks to him and tried to get him to respond to us. But, being a youngster, he didn't respond right away. So then I've known his dad for quite a while. And I said, well, I should reach out to him first so he doesn't think I'm like poaching his kid. Right.
Right.
So we did. And he's like, yeah, send the crap over to me. What do you need? And I go, well, we need a guitar player and a bass player. I think at that time we were even talking about two guitar players, weren't we, Brittany?
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
were.
And so, I kind of threw the material at him. He called back like 2 days later and said, so what do you need for this? And I go, well, we definitely need a guitar player and a bass player. And he goes, well, I think I found him for you. And I go, oh, cool. Let me get a pen. He goes, no, you're talking to him.
That's
We're like,
awesome.
both of our jaws are like, I mean, metal church, autograph, everything else he had going on. I'm like, how's this going to work? But, the universe again has intervened. But anyway, so it happened really quick. So I want to say, like, from November to January, in that whole time frame, we went from no band to a full band to the band, and a full business plan for release strategy and all that. So, um, but prior to that, we just didn't know what to do with Give It To Me because there was no band, right?
Hmm.
So then when we were putting this new EP together, Villain, we just kind of had a conversation about it and said, well, what about Give It To Me? So, Brittany kind of took it and, came up with some ideas to restructure it a little bit and to fit it more into the sonicscape that we're putting out now, with the players we have. And she added stuff to it. There's some operatic stuff in there. And I think it's amazing. So we shipped it off to our radio guy, who still had two other songs on Beautiful Scars he wanted to work with, and he's like, no, this is the next one. So that's where we're at. So, but we have 5 more tunes coming, including a really cool Beatles cover, and those will be releasing probably 8 to 10 weeks at a time here over the rest of the year until the EP comes out in fall.
All right. So that was my next question. When's it coming out? So we're saying fall of 2026 this year.
Yeah,
It's going to be coming out.
yeah, it's all complete.
The
I
full
mean,
EP.
yeah.
I can't wait. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm
Well,
so
Yeah,
you're going to get it body pieces at a time.
well, I'll take
So
yeah,
I'll take
yeah.
any piece I can these days, trust me. But
uh,
I definitely love to have you guys back on before you guys do the release, just so we can talk
Yeah.
about it and get some more exposure
Oh
for you
yeah,
guys.
oh,
Um,
absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
definitely.
Guys, I gotta say, best fun show I've had in a while with a band. You know what I mean? Like it's always like a serious talk, but this was great because you guys are just like me. It's just shooting it and enjoying it. And
Oh, absolutely.
and the fact you guys are awesome, and I can't wait to get you guys back on the show again. You know,
Oh
Any,
yeah.
uh,
anytime, just reach out whenever. We always got tons of stuff. I mean, we are a six piece, and so this band is definitely a tapestry of how would you put it? I
a
just think
tapestry
that
of different collaborations all together as one body.
yeah,
That's the best way I could say it.
yeah, I think as a musical unit, as a troupe,
Mhm.
this is probably the most cohesive version of this band that we've ever had. Um, Definitely
Yeah.
from a professionalism standpoint. But there are so many different, I mean, Steve, for instance, I mean, I've said this on many years. He and I are basically the same guy. So
Mhm.
things just got worse for everybody when I got him in the band because now they got two of me to deal with. Uh, when I mean that by that is we're the pranksters, we're the guys that are,
You guys are
the guys.
you guys are the jokesters. So
Absolutely.
if I was hanging out with you guys, I'd be joining you on that fun too. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's
I
just,
I'm a jokester, prankster, love doing all that stuff too.
yeah, and stuff. So, and
Oh
it's just
no.
it's a lot of fun,
Oh
and
boy.
and this one, Brittany, I mean, she had us running around the French Quarter looking for vampires. So
Yeah.
just saying,
That was
it was such a good time. We were in like dungeons and stuff. It was cool.
Oh, that's awesome. You know what? I
awesome.
would definitely have a blast hanging out with you guys. I could say that much because you guys remind me of just awesome, chill, have fun, enjoy each other's time. That's the best thing I could
Yeah.
say.
That's the
Thank you,
truth.
man. Thank you. Birds of a feather, you know? It's too hard to take shit seriously, you know what I mean? You gotta have fun.
Yeah,
That's
without a
why
Right.
that's why
doubt.
we're here.
Well, I gotta say, guys, I've had enjoyed this with you guys. Before we do end the night, let everybody know where they could actually find you guys.
Take it, my lady.
Well, I mean, everything. You will find us on all the things. Limberlost Music on Instagram, on Spotify, on Facebook, on TikTok. We're on TikTok. We go TikTok live all the time. You can catch me hiking. Sometimes in the jacuzzi. We go on Facebook, or not Facebook Live, we go on YouTube Live. We're on YouTube, and you can check out our videos, our music videos, limberlostmusic.com, and we have a store, all kinds of stuff you can get there. You can join our VIP and literally come to Europe with us and see all of our own personal footage from our European tour and come backstage with us, as well as see every single one of our shows while we were there. There's just so much fun. Come hang out with us. Limberlost Music on all the things. Just find us. We're there, my friends.
And without a
Yep.
doubt, I will connect every link in the bio for you guys too, so not to worry.
Awesome.
Cool.
We appreciate that. We totally appreciate, and just as an independent artist, I just got to throw this out there because it's kind of my message this go around is that, we need the fans. We
Mhm.
need the fans
Yeah.
to stay independent. And one of the best ways, I mean, you hear all the, hey, follow and share and do all those things. They don't cost money. Those are great. And we do appreciate that. And we really need those things. But if you really want to help us out, and just download our music off our website. We don't have to share with anybody. I told somebody this the other day. I said, for a little less than $1.50, you can get our brand new single downloaded off our website. You would have to stream us 2 to 3 times a day, every day of the year, for me to maybe get that back in a Spotify royalty.
Mm, I
So
actually believe that.
and it's just well, we don't teach it, we don't share it, we don't tell people. That's because the world's ever changing too, Alex. I mean, at the
Mhm.
end of the day, the music business changes while we sleep. So the fact is that we've just started to realize that we could maintain our independence if we could convince our fan base just to buy our music from us. And if
Right.
we did that and we didn't go through all these other platforms, yeah, they're important. I mean, if we want to get on a festival, they're going to go look at our Spotify numbers, and they're going to go look at our this number and that number, and it's all about numbers and stuff. It really doesn't translate into anything because I think one of the biggest growing artists right now has got 3 million monthly listeners. Is freaking a full-on AI person that doesn't even exist.
Mm.
So, you know,
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, so what the hell? I don't care, whatever. That's cool. But, at the end of the day, the numbers are what everybody's looking at. So, yeah, that's important. But for us to get in it, we just got a couple tours put on our plate this afternoon that, they're going to require us to invest. And if we decide we want to do them, we've got to pull that money from somewhere. And so
Right.
that's how we do it. We do it through our own personal store. And if people can support us that way, we would be much obliged.
No worries. And as soon as we actually as soon as we're done with this, I'm actually gonna be posting on Instagram with you guys connected to it. So not to worry.
I appreciate you, brother.
Great. Thank
Guys,
you.
thank you so much, Brittany, Mike, Limberlost. Guys, you gotta check this out. Check out the albums, check out the music, check out their channels, check out their website, support the independence as an independent podcaster too. Support, support, support. That is the key with us. And like I always end the show, it's nothing but love, peace, and happiness. Good night, everybody.